We are live.
Namaste and good evening to all. Thank you, Deepa, for the nice introduction, and thank you, KTG, for giving me opportunity to present my story. The story is written by a very famous writer. You all have to guess, and while I will narrate the story, and please drop it in the chat box. Before diving into the story, I just want to ask you a question. Have you ever met someone in your life for a second, for a moment, or once or twice, and that person is still in your heart? Not because he or she spoke to you beautifully, not because he or she promised you for something, but something stayed in your eyes. It happened to me at a railway station. The station that marked the beginning of the Himalayan foothills. Every summer, I used to travel to from plane to Dehra, my grandmother's place. From it started from May and returning during July. On this year by year, on the same track, on the same train, and thick dark forest passed by my window. I was a college student at that time. I was 18 years old boy. And while traveling, always and always, the train would slow down. The sound of the train would slow down. And the speed of the train slowed down at a station that was like a dream. A few electric bulbs, few oil lamps, and yellow tired light spilled over the empty platform. Nobody used to get down on that platform. Nobody used to uh, got off on that train, and no coolies, and one uh, uh, fruit vendor, one tea stall, few stray dogs. I don't know why it is stopped for 10 minutes. I always used to wonder that, and always used to think that one day I would got down from train just to get around this town, just to be remembered by the town. Yes, and always bell clanched and guard blew whistle and train would gather speed, and after that the forest used to swallow that station, and that happened always. One morning, it was cold, train drew at that station, and I look at outside the window, and I saw a girl coming down from the platform. एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा जैसे खिलता गुलाब, जैसे शायर का ख्वाब, जैसे उजली किरण. I just saw that girl was walking down the platform, and it was cold morning. So I saw that girl was barefooted, and the shawl was thrown across her shoulder, and she was coming near to my window. She was wearing old cloth, but something was there in her that caught my eyes. She was walking gracefully, and she with dignity also. She came near to my window. Initially, she did not want to notice, but her pale skin, her shining black hair, her dark eyes were searching, eloquent, and that met mine. We both were looking at each other. She was outside the window, and I was inside the compartment. We were in silence, but still, that silence was giving us happiness. And she was also carrying the cane basket. And suddenly she moved from there. I also got up from my seat and went near to the carriage door and stepped down from the train. I moved towards the tea stall. She also followed me and came behind me. She said, "Do you want to take this cane basket? It is very strong. It is made of very special cane." I said, "No." But she, again, I look at her and said, "Okay, I will take it." I handed over note to her and took that basket. But I did not try to touch her hand. Then, well clenched, cart blew whistle, and the train gathered its speed. It started, so I had to run. I ran and boarded on the train. I look at her. She was standing there. I looked till the last box came in between us. And at that time, the jungle swallowed that station. But still, I could see that girl standing alone on the platform. And I was just dreaming about the rest of my journey. Just her smoldering eyes, dark eyes, her face. After reaching my grandmother's home, life happened. I met my college friends, grandmother's stories. That incident faded and distant. But while in returning, I remember her. I remembered her. And I was waiting for the train to stop at Deoli station. And the moment it drew at the station, I looked outside and she was standing on the platform. This time, I sprang from the seat. I went to the door near the door and I waved her. She also waved me and smiled back. I also smiled, and we both were happy that we both remembered each other. I went down on the platform. I went to near her and I took that basket from her and placed it on the floor, on the ground. She wanted to pick that basket, she, uh, but I held her hand and said, I have to go to Delhi. She said, no, I don't have to go anywhere. And then bell clanged, card blew whistle, train hissed, and the compartment shuddered and jolted. I had to run and I boarded on the train again. I looked at her. She was smiling. And this time I did not forget her. I was thinking about her. She was in my dream and she was living with me. And this time also I packed my luggage before the term ended. And my grandmother was very happy with my eagerness. She thought she was her. I boarded on the train and then again that train stopped at the station. I looked outside, but no. Oh my God, this time she was not there. My heart sank and I went down on the platform. I went to the station master. I asked him, do you have any idea the girl who used to sell the cane basket? Where is she? The station master said, I don't know where is she, but if you don't want to be left on the platform, better you go to the train. And then again, whistle blew. I had to went back to my compartment. Rest of journey, I was restless. I was thinking, where could she had gone? And so many thoughts were going in my mind. I had met only once or twice. How would I find her? I reached my grandmother's place. My grandmother was not happy this time because within a 2 weeks, I decided to go back to my place. And when I reached at the Deoli station, this time I thought I would search her. But how will I find, how would I find it was going in my mind? Lots of questions were to be asked on that station. As train due at the station, I went down and I went to the station master. But this time, the station master was new. The older one was transferred 2 weeks back. I went to the tea stall and I asked that man, do you have any idea about that girl? That man said, yeah, I quite remember that girl. She used to come to sell cane basket, but I don't know. She is not coming from few days. Then I said, where could she had gone? I don't know. How could I know? She was nothing to me. But I paced up and down on the platform. I went to the railway yard I saw there a mango tree and a dusty road leading towards the forest. Then again the bell clanged and whistle blew. I had to run and back to my train. I was so restless that time. I always thought, how could I find her? I had met only once or twice. Where she could have gone, what could have happened to her? And after that, many times I crossed that station. Many questions erupted in my mind, and I always looked outside the window, half expecting that smiling face, that the same smiling face of that girl. But I did not break my journey. I kept hoping and dreaming about her, just hoping. Thank you. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you. You took us to the railway station, and yes, most of us must have felt nostalgic. In the interest of time, I would like request all of you to put your comments in the chat box, and we can just have one comment. Or Nivedita ji, if you want to say something, ask something.
Just I will read the feedback, the chat
Okay,
box.
thank you. Because it's like
Dialogue.
5:12.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it would be good for all of us to keep typing in the chat box and let's take screenshots. Thank you so much. And with this, let's move on to the second travel journey from the one who was a banker who has turned to a storyteller now. And she's an author first before being a storyteller. And yes, let's welcome Moshmi to tell her story. And I have put her introduction, formal introduction, here in the chat box for everyone to read.
Thank you, Deepa, for such a dashing introduction. I'm very happy.
Sorry.
You've given me a very pep talk for the evening too. So yeah,
Sorry.
good evening all, and not
Moshmi, I think I am not able to see you. Is she spotlighted?
I have not done anything, Deepa. You have the
No, no,
controls.
we will do it. It's for us to do. So Vrushali. So Vrushali will do the spotlighting for us,
Okay.
and yes. Yes,
Okay.
now we all can see you on our screens.
Moshmi, you
Yeah.
have to wait. Okay.
We are still live, I think.
Yeah. Let us go live only. Just wait.
So
You are all set, Moshmi. We
yeah.
are eager to listen to your story.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. And here I am presenting a very beautiful travel story from my own travel log, which I had written in my diary years ago. So, this ages back to the year 1999, which is like many years ago. And this story is very close to my heart. So it goes like I had just finished my graduation exam, and we were wanting a much required break after the sweltering summer with the important exams. And we decided that we want to go for a small vacation. So by we, I mean my sister, I, and my parents. So we decided that let's not explore much, but let's go to our very own native place, which is in Konkan. So we all decided that let's go to this beautiful native place of ours, which we were going since our childhood. But this time, the beauty of the trip was that we were all traveling to our native place in the month of June. And June, as we all know, is the onset of rains in all over India. So it's something which is so beautiful out there that the scenery and the entire atmosphere is very lively. So Konkan is that precious gem in the crown of Maharashtra, which is blessed with nature's bounty, which has amazing mountains, rivers. It's always green. The people are very soft, sweet. They speak the local dialect, which is Malwadi, which is a mix of Konkani and Marathi. And so we decided that we hop into the bus because that time Konkan Railway wasn't available. So you always had to travel by road. And by road, I mean it was a proper 14-hour journey. So you can imagine the trauma of sitting in a bus and traveling all the way there. So the bus used to start at 6 o'clock in the evening. It used to circle the city and then it used to touch the Mumbai Goa highway. So it was the excitement every time was different among us because we have lived our childhood there, childhood vacations there. We've been very close to nature in all our vacations there. So Konkan also is an ancestral home to our relatives, to my mother's side, because that is her maternal grandparents' house, which is there. And it was built by my great grandparents from the maternal side. The family deities of both the sides, that is paternal and maternal, both are there in COVID. So obviously, we have our two yearly visits to the family temples. Now, the location of this house was beautiful. There was a huge mango orchard which was lined up with cashew trees, coconut trees, and betel nut trees swayed in the beautiful breeze of Konkan. All types of fruits and flowers thrived on the soil of this heavenly abode. We had people come and go in our estate to draw water from our river, from our well, which was there. And also, there were people who would come and help us on our field. The fields produced vegetables, rice, all fruits, and the flowers were beautifully blooming on the soil of our ancestral home. As kids, we yearned for seeing the Konkan rains, but never got this opportunity. With amazing excitement, we boarded the bus, and it would take 14 hours, as I said. Now we were around midnight when we reached the Sahyadri Ghats. And I don't know if, I'm sure you all would have read that Sahyadri Ghats are very steep. So it always gave me an unusual tension when I used to travel through the ghats because I had a terrible fear of motion sickness. So I used to always suckle something in my mouth and I used to just push off to sleep to avoid the twists and turns. And I was really every time amazed as to how the bus driver drove the bus every now and then, how with the twists and turns of the Sahyadri Ghats made my stomach churn. It would always make me wonder as to how much, with so much of an affinity, he took over the steering wheel and how did he drive the bus in the dark of the night. It was a full moon night and Sahyadri Ghat was looking so beautiful and serene with A small sweep of rain had just passed away, and the trees were swaying in the soft moonlight. I had plugged in my earphones and listening to Salman Khan hits, I drifted off to sleep. We woke up to the soft drops pattering on our bus, and we thought that we would be really drenching in the rain when we got off from the bus. But we were crisp dry till we reached our home. My mama, that is my mother's maternal cousin, he and my mommy, she welcomed, and my aji, she welcomed us with a warm hug as they were looking forward for our trip. After a sumptuous meal and lots of gappa goshti, we called it a day. Next morning, I heard my mama's scooter revving. I rushed out to ask him if I could accompany him. He said he was heading to the market and it was already dark. The dark clouds were looming and it was going to be a heavy downpour. I would get wet and catch cold. He pulled my leg, saying, "The Konkan rains are brutal. City skin will not be able to bear them." I disagree and hopped on the scooter. We drove to the market, picked up what we had to, and then headed back home. There was sudden rumbling of the clouds. The dark clouds gathered and made the road less visible to drive. The heavy raindrops started pouring, and within a few seconds, we had a gush of rain sweeping over. We decided to stop our ride and wait till the rain ceased. My mama pointed out to the family deity temple, and it was looking beautifully divine. The pond which was there next to the temple was dry, and now it was slowly filling up with the rainwater. The kids were all enjoying, drenched in the rain, and their happiness was visible on their faces. After all, the fields, their bread and butter, will now flourish with crops. Do you all remember the ST buses, the red buses, which beam over the highway? Yes. So these have a visible presence in Konkan. So the ST buses would noisily pass the road to avoid any accident. The local grocery stores suddenly got busy, preventing their goods from getting wet. Amidst all that, I saw a shopkeeper chasing a frog, causing havoc in his shop. It was a huge one. And it surely was making the grocer chase around the shop. The rain receded and we resumed our ride back home. I saw paddy fields in its light green color, the color which etched in my mind, strongly signifying happiness on the face of the farmers working on their fields. My mama asked me, why was I suddenly so quiet? I said, "Mama, thank you for bringing me here. This scene will never fade in my memory. I have witnessed the most beautiful, unfiltered happiness seen on people's faces." He said, "Yeah, make the most of it. In cities, we don't get to witness such innocence." The rain stopped and we reached home. My Aji rushed me to the cow shed. There, she had lit a small fire and was heating water on it. I was enjoying the undivided attention where they helped me pat dry my hair. My mommy got a hot piping ginger tea so that I feel warm. It was the best day of my life. I had a restful sleep that day. The warmth of my native, my ancestral roots, the warmth of my house can never be forgotten. My mama, loving as he was, made our trip special. After a few years, he passed away. not because he was old, he was ailing. And he left this beautiful memory of his with me for life. Today, when I visit that house, my heart races thinking of those old days gone, but happy that they still are in that cozy corner of our heart. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And Moshmi, if you can read after your turn, you can just sneak peek into the chat box. You have taken each one of us to Konkan. Everyone is actually feeling it, and you can very proudly call yourself a storyteller because the words actually transported us to Konkan, and we all had this nostalgia, the feeling of nostalgia in us.
Thank you so
Beautiful.
much, Deepa. I will have a look on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, let's type our comments here in the chat box and let's move on to the next journey with our own Veena ma'am who started her journey as a teacher, and she is one of those very few Indian teachers who she was one of the selected teachers who guided children to enhance their listening English skills for the program from Trinity School of London. And rest I am putting in chat box. And Veena ma'am, we are all set. Just give me a second so that I'll just put your introduction in the chat box. Stage is all yours, Veena ma'am. And yes.
Neela ma'am, just hold on. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Deepa. I still
Uh,
love
I'll I'll
love
share the images now or
a little later after I've just started. Then
okay, sure. You
okay,
let me know.
yeah. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here in KTG as always. And as Nivedita said, I also feel so much at home with all of you, and there's so much to learn from all of you. Today, being the theme of travel diaries, I thought I thank you actually for giving us this theme because it'll take me back 46 years back if I talk about the 1980s. And then I had to take out my diary and take out some beautiful memories. And today I'm going to share that with you. And let me take you all to 1980. All right? Let's go on a journey together. During my journey, I have named it my Bollywood dream. And this is what I'm talking about when I was simply just 20. And I got married in 1978. So I was a bubbly newlywed bride. I didn't like to get married so early, but my mother was not well, so I had to. So I had done everything after I got married. I was just a class 12 student. And I just got married and very excited to be in the place which I always dreamed that one day I would be. And I'm sure you can guess which place. But during my story, since I'm having a little bit of sore throat, I will ask Nina and all of you singers to be a part. And please join in and kindly guess the name of the movie so that you can jot down 1, 2, 3. So let's get started for a Bollywood dream. गर फिरदौस बार रुए ज़मीन अस्त हमीन अस्तो. If there is a paradise on earth, it is here, it is here, it is here. Yes.
कश्मीर की कली
We are going to Kashmir. In the 1980s, as my husband and I stepped into Kashmir, it felt we had walked straight into an unfiltered paradise. The air was untouched, the valleys were silent except for the sound of the beautiful rivers. The beauty was so pristine. It stole my breath, it stole my heart. This was the first time, as a couple, a newly wedded couple, we were excitedly coming out all the way from Assam for a journey to Kashmir. My husband was studying. Right after getting married, he had to do a course in DIH in Kolkata when he left his newlywed bride for 10 months. And he planned this because we didn't meet often. After we got married, I was with my father in another place. So he had planned this. It was a surprise ticket. When he sent me, I was excited. So from Guwahati, we flew and we reached Kolkata. I got married to a very big joint family. We're all five brothers and three sisters. And at the time, it was that my in laws were Hajis. My mother used to cover her head, mother in law. And when I got married, I was in a totally different atmosphere. I was very scared of them actually. They were very religious, and I used to wearing bell bottoms, maxis, midis, and whatnot, and got into this joint family where, of course, we didn't have to wear burqas, but had to cover our head all the time. When my father and mother-in-law were eating at the table, we used to sit and we used to just take that a sort of respect. When we went for weddings also, my mother-in-law used to tell me, cover your head. So when guests also came, both the brothers got almost simultaneously, same time we got married. And people in the town said that, are you celebrating Durga Puja? Your wedding is more than a week. Both the brothers getting married together, both the brides sitting in the same, and the reception has been going on and on, so many festivals. So when we were introduced, one bride comes from that side, one bride comes from that side, and the people, lot of guests in the house. So I came from there. And at the time, mind you, I was not allowed to wear salwar kameez. You leave pants. And we were planning a journey to Kashmir. Only saris. So we came to Kolkata. In Kolkata, the first thing I did was to buy a salwar kameez. Because I was dying to wear a salwar kameez after I got married, I was wearing so many things before I got married. And we bought that excitedly. But I don't know at that time why I didn't buy a pair of pants. Maybe that would be too much. So I stuck to salwar kameez. All right, fine, at least. But I did carry saris with me too. And I went along. And one night staying in Kolkata, I reached from Guwahati. We took the Jammu Express. And excitedly holding each other's hand, looking into each other's eyes, we met after such a long time. We entered the Kupi. And once we went there, my father went all the way to drop me there. And he said, have a wonderful time. He bought so many goodies for me. Today my father's no more, but I have sweet memories of him. He was so excited, more than me. Enjoy Kashmir, have a wonderful time. Click pictures, we'll be waiting for you. And we went. And to wave at Kajal from a distance, I waved my father bye. And I boarded the train. And we were there and excited when we reached Jammu. He had a friend who was kind enough. We stayed there for the night. We had a wonderful time, went around the Jammu market. And next day, my dream was about to start. I boarded the bus, the beautiful bus from Kashmir to Srinagar, Yahoo! And wearing a salwar kameez after a long time, wearing goggles, beautiful dupatta, the most excited bride, wearing goggles, happy to be with my husband, holding hand in hand and boarding the bus. As soon as I entered the bus, I was amazed to see that the driver looked exactly like Rishi Kapoor. Oh my God! My Bollywood dream begins. Such a jovial person looking so handsome, exactly believe me. And throughout the journey he enthralled us with his melodious voice, singing all the 80s hit songs. And I can start now and you can help me. La, la 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 la, la 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 la. तू तू है
तू है
वही
वही मैं हो जाऊं
तू है वहाँ रे ला 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 अब तो है
तो
जीना
जीना
तेरे बिन है
सजा
सजा. And we boarded the
हो
bus, and the
जाए
bus started. And looking at each other, holding hands, we took the journey to Srinagar. Oh, how excited I was! And as I went through the bus journey, believe me, being a movie buff or what I don't know, I was so crazy about actors and actresses. When I saw the tall trees, I could almost see Shami Kapoor and Sharmila Tagore as if they were coming out. And Shami Kapoor with his style, with the hand like that. Ho 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 ho. Da la 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 la. ये देख के दिल झूमा ये प्यार पे अंगड़ाई
आई
दीवाना
दीवाना
हुआ
हुआ
पागल
पागल
la 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 la.
ला
Oh God, my Bollywood dream was happening. And finally, singing songs, reaching, we got down in a place for lunch. The name was Kud. We walked hand in hand, climbed the hillock, and in the beautiful hut, the name of the place was Kud. Feeling that wintry, beautiful, cold weather. It was the month of November. It was quite cold. And we went up steep the stairs. We were served garam garam tandoori rotis with rajma. And when we asked for onions, they gave us radish served with imli chutney. So that was a different taste. So we had that, we were feeling hungry, and we continued our journey. And by the time we reached Srinagar, it was quite dark. And finally, we reached our abode, the tourist lodge, which was booked in our name. And we got down, we started pulling our overcoats, for the cold. And we slept like a log. The heater was a welcome relief balm for us because the beautiful heat, we needed it because we felt cold also. And the next time when I came out in a sari. I had taken a beautiful sari going out around Srinagar. And I wore that. I clicked pictures. And at that time, we didn't have the sophisticated mobiles. We didn't have the beautiful cameras. My husband was there in half pay. And I was staying with my father. So whatever shoestring budget we had, we planned Kashmir. And we went with that old camera where you have to keep on turning, for that reel. And if you take it once, everything is spoiled. So after we saw in the bus, everybody carrying such sophisticated cameras, at one point of time, I felt a little shy. But my husband said, fine, whatever we have, we have. And we started clicking pictures, here and there. So once we planned to go out in Srinagar. And suddenly when I saw the flowers and I saw my husband, a song came to my mind. गुनगुना रही है भंवर चल रही है
है
गली
कली कली
गली गली
कली कली
गली
कली
गली
कली
जरा देखो सजन दीवाना है da 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 la la la. And we went out. And the next day we had a beautiful time in Srinagar. Went here and there, had Kashmiri food, saw the people around. It was wonderful. And we came back. And the next day our plan was to visit Gulmarg. Gulmarg, I saw in the movies. Gulmarg, I saw in the pictures. Finally, I'll be going there. And I was so excited. You can understand why. Because in Gulmarg was the Bobby house. And the iconic Hum Tum एक एक कमरे में हो और इच्छा भी हो
कभी खो
तो
जा
जाए. That song was filmed there. Rishi Kapoor and Dimple Kapadia. Oh my God. At that time, I thought he was my Rishi and I was the Dimple. And we went towards the Bobby house. As we went there were a lot of couples with us. We were in a group, okay? And the photographer started clicking pictures like that. And they made us do the most silliest poses. And we were so innocent and so happy and excited. We didn't mind, giving those poses in front of the Bobby house. And he showed us where Dimple sat, where Rishi Kapoor, where Dimple's mother sat. So the guide who took us there, he was all about Bobby, everything. So we came out from there. And then the most beautiful thing is that we had to ride horses now. And I was looking forward to this. I was a bit scared because I never rode a horse. But we had to go there because we had to go through the winding lanes and they would take us up in Gulmarg to a viewpoint. It was a hillock where you had to go all the way. So we planned for that and we went a horse. Then I very confidently, climbed the horse, but I was quite scared because at one time, as soon as the horse trotted, it started galloping so fast. My husband was far ahead of me, and I was looking, I was so nervous, I can't tell you. I almost thought I'll fall down. But still, I somehow managed to control myself. And next time, I promised, I thought in my mind, I would ask my husband to, hire a horseman so that my horse could not gallop but trot, and I would just walk along with the horse instead of falling down and tripping. And all along, I could hear the background music, thinking of myself as Neetu Singh or any other actress in the horse. But my husband, he was already there busy with his fellow travelers. And as I was trotting, you can imagine what happened. You see, Gulmarg is so beautiful, its endless slopes of wildflowers. It was as if God had spilled heaven across the mountain. For me, it wasn't just a trip, it was a Bollywood dream coming to life. Now it was time to ride on horses, and as I said, I was scared. But I quite took care of myself. And I promised that next time I would ask my husband, as I told you. Now, as I was going, every Bollywood movie has a comedy track. It happened with me too. Suddenly, when I'm going and trotting in the horse, I hear a sound. Whoosh! Whoosh! When I look, can you believe me? I saw a palki. A palki? Who was in the palki? Palki curtain up, palki curtain down. Palki curtain up, palki curtain down. Whoosh! Whoosh! Now, what was that sound? And from where was it coming? I was curious to find out. Was it a Kashmiri princess? I wouldn't want to miss the face. And of course, I remembered the song. Ye parda hata do, jara mukhra dikha do. Ab kaun hai bhai? Kaun hai palki mein? All the horses going along, and suddenly a palki. Now, realization comes to me when I am riding my horse. Two women, side by side, two rides, one, me, Bollywood and the horse, and another, a mysterious face which I have not seen till now in the Uber Palki. So two rides, two women from different places. We have not seen each other. And suddenly I look, I don't want to miss her face. And finally I see a face popping out with wide eyes. Oh, it was Auntie. There was an auntie. And she was looking. Why was she looking ahead? Then she saw me. Did you see my husband? As if I knew her husband. I'm from a different world, my darling auntie. How can I know where your husband is? I think his horse has gone far ahead. I'm in a palki. I'm feeling very scared. Oh God, I have to hear her soft story now. But of course, my horse was not galloping. I told you, the horseman was there for me. Serves me right for asking my husband to keep a horseman for me. So I was looking at Auntie and saying, but why a palki? Why not a horse? Auntie told me, my whole life I always wore a sari, no salwar, no pants, and no horse license. So my dear, I had to be in a palki. I didn't want to miss this ride. And there she was. But at that point of time, when I heard her, I looked at her teary face and her teary eyes. I felt so good that I could give her some company at that moment. Two people from different places, but just look how we met. And there was a bonding. I felt great because I felt she was feeling lonely and a little nervous. Now, I reached the tourist lodge, and you can understand the conversation with my husband was none other than Auntie G. Poor thing, she was never allowed to wear a salwar and nor a pants, but still she took the trip in a sari. But she couldn't ride a horse, that's why she had to take a palki. And finally, husband dear came, and we all got down and we went our different ways. So next day, our plan was to visit the Dal Lake. In a shikara, as it glided ahead across the Dal Lake, I felt like Poonam Dhillon, and I can almost hear Noori, Noori, that song. And when I saw the oars, which rowed the boat ahead. These oars of the shikara, they're not like those ones we see, the sharp pointed ones. They're blunt shape and heart shape. And can you imagine? Nuri was written there. The picture which you show now, after some time, Deepa, you can see it's written there. If you can show them that picture in the shikara.
Okay, I'll show it right away.
Yeah. So Nuri was written there. I just had to get that filmy boat also, being such a movie buff.
Just a second.
Yeah. These are the winding strips when we went from, from, up to Srinagar. Yeah. This, and now you can show the other picture. Not this, the other one. Yeah, this is the shikara which is in Dal Lake. We had a
Yes.
wonderful time. And this is me and my husband. And you can see Nuri is written there. Can you see? It's written there. So I, of course, felt like Poonam Dhilan. And which was, now, when we went, there was Char Sinar. And Char Sinar, you can understand that Rajesh Khanna and Asha Parekh, when they had Acha To Hum Chalte, that famous song. So we went there, we had a wonderful time, and we came back. And when we came back again in our shikara. And you can again show me. Deepa, you can just. Thank you so much. And this is one of those horse rides which we
Horse
took
riding.
together, horse riding, being famous and finally meeting him for a picture. So, a beautiful, and this time when I came back from Charsinar, I got in the shikara, a beautiful scene which remained for me for 46 years. Today I'm going to tell you about it. A beautiful Kashmiri girl who might be only 9 to 10 years old was approaching our shikara with a shikara full of flowers. She approached the shikara with a bouquet in her hands, saying, "Flower, buy." They just learned one or two words. And then when she was looking at me, she thought maybe I didn't understand. She told me, "Didi, फूल ले लो." Then I said, "Of course, क्यों नहीं? आपका नाम क्या है?" And she told me, "Afsana." That name rang in my, till today, Afsana, the way she said, coming in. It was such a dreamy scene for me. And it remains till now. Beautiful with colorful flowers, a beautiful Kashmiri girl dressed in a Kashmiri dress will not be more than 9 and 10. You see, at that time, some realization, a small beautiful girl like that with a bouquet of flowers, how beautiful this scene can be. It has remained in my mind forever, and Afsana, that name, it rang a bell, as if in the background I could hear her music, Afsana going in slow motion towards the Dal Lake, So, in that second, when I saw this little girl, my whole Bollywood dream went quiet. Here I was, playing the heroine, as she was at an age for school and dolls, working so that our family could eat. It kept us thinking and brought us many flowers, and we bought as many flowers we could to help her. She smiled out of the corner of her eyes. One of those shy smiles that stay with you for 46 years, mind you. Today I'm telling you. And she rode away into the gold of sunset, like she was the real Kashmir ki Kali. Well, friends, the 1980 Kashmir gave me everything: love, romance, comedy, songs in the air, slow motion, horses, auntie in palkis, background music. Paradise, you see, is not just about meadows and movies. Sometimes it's a child in a shikara reminding me how lucky we are to be just the audience. As the sun set for the evening, the houseboats in the distance look like Diwali sets with twinkling lights. My husband looked at me and said, "If there is a dream, let's not forget who's awake in it." So it's not only a Bollywood story only for me, thinking of me as a heroine. There's so many other things which touched me. The ride in the shikara in the village, the carpet weaving, one of the most traditional things which happen in Kashmir. So I want Kashmir to be beautiful and unfiltered as it was when we visited as a couple in 1980. There should not be anything or any the word terrorist and the word fright in our minds when we visit Kashmir. Let it be the beautiful paradise it actually is. And before I end my story, I'd like to thank Niharika Agarwal. I had discussed this story for her, with her. She loved it, and she helped me see the story from a different perspective as well. So thanks to Niharika, and thanks to all of you for joining today and hearing and giving me the time to listen to my travel diary and the memories that we created so many years back. You made me relive through it as a young bride. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, Moina ma'am. It was like you are still blushing. We can see that. You're still reliving those days. And you took us to okay, where we went, most of us. And we have put it in our chat box as well. Thank you. It was a lovely visit to Kashmir. Yeah, Kashmir should remain Kashmir. True. Wow. So, with this travel diaries, let's move on to the last travel diary for today. And where can I see Mudita ji? Is she here?
I cannot see her.
Yeah, even I feel so that she is not here. So, maybe she dropped off. Just a second. I'll just give her a call. And meanwhile, we can share
Deepa,
our
you continue.
thoughts
I'll
with Veena
coordinate
ma'am
with
and
her.
all the others.
Deepa,
Okay,
you continue. I'll coordinate with her.
I'd
sure,
really
sure.
love if you write
So
something
by
in
the
the chat,
time
Deepa. I'd really appreciate
Mudita, yes,
if,
ma'am.
if everybody can share their feelings in the chat.
Yes, yes, they are doing that. You'll have to scroll up. They have done. We already have done that.
I will definitely look into
And
it much.
yes, Veena ma'am had shared a couple of pictures which I could not show earlier. Let's see those pictures. And meanwhile, if someone wants to say something, can do that till the time Mudita starts her journey. And this is such a beautiful quote.
You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. I love this.
Yes.
Heaven isn't too far if Kashmir is your destination.
And this is you.
Thank you. Reviving old memories.
Yeah,
Thank you. So, traveling for me is memories actually. That's why I said memories.
correct.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deepa, for
So,
sharing.
what is this, Veena ma'am? Would you like to tell us something about this?
The Bobby House. And later I came to know that it was Raj Kapoor's sort of, house which they had built there. And this is the famous Bobby House where Hum Tum Mein Kamre Mein Band Ho was shooting. This is in Gulmarg. The horse, the valleys, the beautiful meadows where we had to embark on the horses. And these are the beautiful rivers flowing through Kashmir all along the bus journey. It fascinated me and made me feel so good. When today also I think about it, I get so excited. And the winding lanes.
Deepa, Mudita is here.
Yeah. So, we can spotlight Mudita ji. And so, Mudita ji has been traveling with stories. She's telling stories through from after bumbling through microbiology labs and pre-primary classrooms. Discovering picture books in children's bookstores and libraries anchored her to the joys of sharing stories with young inquisitive minds. She has stayed on course ever since, even leaning to the performative arts to become one with her audience, young and old. Thank you so much for waiting patiently, Mudita ji. The stage is all yours, and we are all ears, eager to listen to your story.
Thank you. If we are feeling a little just sitting in one place, we can play 2 minutes of a game. Is it okay with you all, or would you all rather just move to the story? Is
I
it okay? We'll
yes,
just,
I think
yeah, okay.
yeah.
So I'm just going to show you the names of a few modes of transport since we are talking of travel today. And you just imagine like you are sitting on that mode. So what would you look like when you are traveling by that mode of transport? Yeah. Okay. Sound good? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So the first one is coming up. What would you look like if you are sitting on a bullock cart? How would that feel? Everybody, come on, give a pose. Imagine you're on a bullock cart. Okay, okay, next.
Back is going to
Next.
ache. Yes.
Bicycle. We are on a bicycle. Tring, 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 tring. Ooh, hacha, hacha, hacha. Okay, next. Motorcycle. Yeah, if we could unmute and do this, my God, I think that would be like really motorcycles running around. Okay.
Cacophonic.
Yes. Okay. Now for the next one, again, you'll get 3 modes of transport. At the count of 3, you're going to take a freeze frame, as in just take a pose and freeze in that. And Deepa ji, if we can just take like a gallery view and we can take a screenshot of this, like everybody in that. Yeah.
Vrishali, you will be doing it? Neeta, photograph expert. Are we all ready? Yeah. Please go ahead.
So I'm showing you the mode of transport, and at the count of 3, we'll freeze. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, off. Okay, the next one is spaceship at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, unfreeze, unfreeze, unfreeze. And the last one. Aeroplane. 1, 2, 3. Okay, unfreeze. So that was just an energizer for us to get back into listening to stories. I'll begin with a quote. This quote is by Ibn Battuta, the 14th century traveler. He says, traveling leaves us speechless. Traveling leaves us speechless and then turns us into storytellers, right? And I'm sure we can all identify with that. How Veena ji's description of her trip to Kashmir. Oh wow, we were imagining it, and that's where I am today. I've been speechless millions of times through my travels, and I just became a storyteller. So what I'm bringing to you today is history of aviation. It's a big topic, but we are moving from history of aviation. We'll begin with the global history, moving to my personal history. Okay. So let's imagine this place where two siblings, two boys growing up together, one 10 years old, one 7 years old, always exploratory, always experimentative. They had many siblings. Their father was a bishop. And yet, though there was Formal education was supported, but there was a lot more space for exploration. They were encouraged to just experiment and explore. They were given by their dad a small toy that was made of paper, bamboo, and cork. And a rubber band to twirl the. Okay, am I visible and audible now? Yeah. Okay. So all they wanted to do was that they wanted to explore flying. They wanted to build an airplane, and it was the year 1903. December 1903, when the first prototype, the Wright Flyer, was in place. The two brothers drew lots to decide who will fly this aircraft. It was December the 14th. And unfortunately, the first plane that they flew crashed. So then the same exercise, they rebuilt it, and the same exercise continued on December 17th. And it was Wilbur who got to ride that first aircraft. Okay. And I'm going to share with you a picture of that. Okay, this was the first aircraft that they flew, and we can all sit as an audience, be on ground, and clap for this landmark that happened in aviation, because as you can see, it didn't allow for any passengers. It was a single, just a pilot-driven aircraft.
Mudita ji, are you sharing the screen?
Oh, sorry, it wasn't visible. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay, wait. Yeah, I didn't share it. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay, so this is the first Wright Flyer that we can see. Are we able to see it? Yes. So we can just stand
Yes.
on ground and we can applaud for Orville and Wilbur Wright for the first aircraft. They were gods for all the modern flying and modern aviation. They are our gods. Okay. And as you can see, it wasn't a passenger plane because it was a single pilot-driven aircraft only. Okay. Now moving on. Now we come to the year 1932. Okay, so airplanes discovered began in 1903. In the 30 years that followed, there was huge leaps in how aircrafts were made. Passenger airplanes had been discovered. Passenger airplanes were made, and they were even flown in India. Now we talk about Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, we all know, he won the Nobel. He traveled by ship. He traveled across the Americas, Europe, Asia. In 1932, he was invited by the Shah of Iran to visit Iran. Now, by that time, there were passenger aircrafts, and he said yes, he accepted the invitation. Now, the question was about how he would go, because the perception for air travel was still about not being very safe, right? So you would not believe it, but KLM, the Dutch airline, just as we test drive cars before buying them, KLM gave Gurudev a test ride in an airplane. Okay. So, so in April 1932, Gurudev was taken along around Bay of Bengal. They took off from Dam Airport in Calcutta. They were taken around Bay of Bengal for 25 minutes. He was in air. By this time, Gurudev was also fragile in health. He was in his 70s, and so that was the reason of feeling a little conscious about taking the airplane. And once he was okay on the test flight, he finally took off on April 11th, 1932. And my dear storytellers, you get to be co-passengers on this aircraft. Okay, this is the aircraft. And as you can see, it was a propeller aircraft. Gurudev sitting by the window, and we are all the co-passengers. Gurudev and we are being served cheese sandwiches, chocolate and bread, and cheese. And he is also signing autographs. So if anybody of you wants, you can get an autograph signed by Gurudev. And one of the things that he said was the smell of petrol and the glowing airport lights made me feel like I was stepping into a new era. The trees along the road stood like silent witnesses to an older world. So that was our flight along with Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. Our plane has landed back. And now, in my progression of history of aviation, I take you to the year 1960. Fast forward to around 30 more years. A young boy growing up in the city of Agra, studying mathematics in college, seeing aeroplanes fly sometimes, once in a while, in the skies of his city, holding on to dreams that he will fly an aeroplane someday. His parents had no clue about the aviation industry. It was not one of the careers that youngsters chose at that time, but they just encouraged their son. He moved to Bombay. He got a job in DGCA, which is the Directorate General of Civil Aviation. It was a desk job. It was a flight inspector job. But he still held on to his dreams of one day flying an aircraft. And he kept giving interviews, he kept applying, and finally in 1971, he got chosen by Air India to be a flight engineer. This is the story of my dad, Mr. H.K. Jain. From the year 1971 to the time he retired in 1993, he flew, he flew on all the aircrafts that Air India had. By the time he retired, he was flying the biggest aircraft that Air India had, which was, I'm going to show it to you. Some of you may be knowing. Which was the Boeing 747, what we call the jumbo jet. So this was the aircraft that he was flying, and it was a matter of great pride for everybody in his family, for his siblings, for his parents, that their son was doing this. And by the time he retired, the cockpit of all aircrafts, of all commercial aircrafts, had begun to look differently. Earlier, there was a seat for a flight engineer. So there was a pilot, there was a co-pilot, and there was a flight engineer. But by the time he retired, the flight engineer was redundant. They had the technology had taken over, and then it became a two-man crew. So all modern aircrafts now are flown by just two people in the cockpit, a pilot and a co-pilot. Okay, so that was the story of my dad. But what did he get besides flying aircraft? What did he get from the job? He got to travel the world. And that was something that just widened his perspective so much. That was something that was completely something he was doing for his soul. He loved going to new places. He loved roaming around in those places, discovering different things, coming back with suitcases full with gifts for his family, for his children, for his siblings, for everybody. And one of the things that he would say is, to discover a new place, all you need to do is chappa chappa घूमना है. Just to translate, माने पैदल हर कोना किसी जगह का चल चल के ही आप जानोगे किसी भी शहर को. And that's what he did. Wherever he went, he would just walk around the whole place. Okay, so that was the story of my dad. Now we come to the year 1975. So this dad had a daughter who had seen her dad immersed in his manuals. Their house looked like a mini cockpit because there were huge cockpit pictures pasted on the walls with all the buttons and gadgets and everything. And because he was in a profession that needed him to renew his license every time, so he kept studying. And his study partner was, of course, his daughter, me. Okay. So one of the things that I really enjoyed doing with my dad was they used to have checklists. So all cockpit crew, even now, they have checklists. Okay. So I will read out to you how they read the checklist. This was a before takeoff checklist. Auxiliary fuel pump, off. Flight controls, free and correct. Instruments and radios, checked and set. Landing gear position lights, checked. Altimeter, set. So I would be reading them out and tell me what the gadget or the buttons needed to look like at that time. So this was our routine, this was our bonding. And of course, I love going on flights with him. So my first independent flight where I was not accompanied by my mother was to Nairobi in the year 1976. I was just in 6th standard. I was a little nervous. It was not because I was anxious about the flight. It was nervous because, as we all know, flying involves certain social etiquette. You need to sit in certain way, you need to speak in certain way, you need to eat in certain way. So all that was playing on my mind, more so because my father was the cockpit crew. Okay, so all that nervousness, and I just overhear a part of the air hostesses, when they give you instructions, the flight instructions, I just hear a part of it which says, "आग लगने की संभावना है." And just that part of it plays on my mind, and I'm imagining, not out of fear, but I'm imagining out of curiosity, कि अगर इस प्लेन में आग लगेगी तो वो कैसा दिखेगा, माने वो कहाँ से मुझे दिखेगी आग, क्या वो the engine I could see from where I was sitting, क्या engine से शुरू होगी आग. I wasn't nervous because I knew my dad was in the cockpit, but yeah, just to give you an example of how naive I was. Okay, as you just compare it to children nowadays, how savvy they are about things, and I was in 6th standard and still very naive about this whole world. So that was me, and I got chappa chappa ghumna from my dad in legacy. Now we will move to the year 1988. Okay. So the girl is of marriageable age, and you know what? The dad chooses an aviation guy for his daughter. He can think of nothing else. But this time, the boy is not a flying crew. The boy is a maintenance crew. So he's an aircraft maintenance engineer. He works not for the national airline, which flies on international routes, but he works for the domestic airline, which flies only within India. So this girl tells him very jokingly, अरे तुम्हें ना किसी गवार लड़की से शादी करनी चाहिए थी, वो बहुत इम्प्रेस्ड होती कि तुम उसे प्लेन में उड़ा रहे हो, you're taking her on flights. मैं तो पूरी दुनिया घूमी हुई हूँ और मुझे अभी जो है डोमेस्टिक, मुझे सिर्फ इंडिया में तुम घुमाओगे. Okay, so that was the joke between them. But yes, it's been a good life. We traveled a lot. I got to see destinations that I had not traveled to with my dad, Nepal, Dubai. Now coming to this part of our lives, there are a few conversations that I really want to share with you all. One is, as we all know, we speak about air travel, but air travel comes at an immense cost. So this boy who she had married was of the generational wisdom that all travel is extra expenditure, um, is wasted expenditure. Okay, so he would not want to travel. Uh, we are thankful to be living in 2000s when a lot has changed and we can see the surge in air travel. But at that time, it was not like that. Air travel was very expensive. It was prohibitive. And he just felt that every penny needs to be saved. It's wasteful expenditure. We can save, we can build a house, we can have better education for our children. So then it needed a conversation which they had. And somewhere, he started realizing that, okay, we can afford. And the girl, in fact, even told him this, कि ठीक है, with your salary, we will do all the future things. I will start earning, and whatever I earn, we will save for our travel. So that's what I did. I don't know how much I earned as a pre-primary teacher, but yeah, we did feel like we had money and we could travel. So yeah, we do travel, and we have this big map, which is a recent purchase actually, where we thought it's a scratch map where wherever you have been, it's a world map. Wherever you have been, you just scratch it out. So we said, okay, where all have we been? And we began one day very excitedly scratching out, scratching out, scratching out. But it still looked very gray. I mean, we hadn't even seen a quarter of what quarter of 1/10 of the world. And we said, no, 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 let's do this for the whole family. And then it started showing more color. But, just seeing that made us feel, oh, umar itni nikal gayi aur samay kitna kam hai. So we need to travel more and more and more. So that was one thing that I wanted to share with you all. I will also share two more things. Again, in the family, I want to share, firstly, I'll just show you a picture from our travels. Just one picture about how things changed for her. So yeah, okay, so, sorry, this is one picture of my dad in the cockpit. He flew with several prime ministers and presidents, took them around the world wherever they needed to go. So this was a picture of that Cancun conference. Then this was a picture about from our travels, where I traveled to London solo before my marriage, and then when we traveled again with the family. So it was a different joy, it was a different discovery when we traveled together. Then I will show you the next picture, which is this. So this boy on the left is our son. When he was small, all the stories that were narrated to him were about aircraft. So he had his nana and he had his dad. And in those days, when he was small, there was not so much of children's picture books or children's books that were available. What was available at home were aircraft magazines. So I would sit with him, and while feeding him, I would be showing him pictures from the Boeing Airliner magazine, where there would be a picture of an aircraft jiski chhat ud gayi hai. And then I would give him, he must be at this age only, 3 or 4 years old. I would give him ki इसमें प्रेशराइजेशन कम हो गया था, जिसकी वजह से वो हाइट लूज कर रहा था प्लेन, और फिर उसकी छत उड़ गई, और फिर वो जो एरोस्टेस थी ना, जो वो दे रही थी, वो बाहर उड़ गई. And then he would go and say the same thing to whoever he met. All his play was like this because his grandparents had made this uniform for him. So this was his for fancy dress, for his play outdoors, he would be dressed like this. And people living in Bombay, if you know, there's an aeroplane park over there, and my parents lived in Bombay. So whenever we went to Bombay for vacation, he would be just in that aeroplane park, and he would sit in the cockpit, and he would be like completely like it was his plane alone. Like, he wouldn't want anybody else to come in the cockpit ki nahi ye main chala raha hu, ye mera plane hai, aap baitho piche, aap seat belt lagao. With that kind of vehemence he would write it. So that was about our son. He's still very interested. He follows airlines and all that. Now this I want to share with you is my husband's Dadi ji. In this picture, she's 94 years old. When she was born in 1919, it must have been 15 to 16 years since the discovery of the first aircraft. And she waited for a complete lifetime. At age 94, she got to ride for the first time ever in an aeroplane. If you can just imagine that even at age 94, there can be some things that you can do for the very first time in your life. And she did that. And she was completely alert. She was completely aware. And she said, पता नहीं लोग क्यों बोलते हैं कि एरोप्लेन में डर लगता है हमें तो कुछ भी डर नहीं लगा so that was Dadi ji. And yeah, so this is like 4 generations touched by aviation. If you ever are passing by in any place and you find an oldish couple just standing at the road and looking up at a plane flying, it might be us, me and my husband. We continue to do that till today. We come wherever we visit, whichever country, like we went to New York and we had to go to this museum and see the Concorde. So we make our travel choices by what airplane we get to fly, by what places we go and see. So that is about me. And I would like to end my narrative with a quote from Henry Miller, which says that we do not the destination of travel is never a new place. It is always a new way of seeing things. Thank you.
Wonderful, Mudita ji. Thank you for taking us to that airplane journey. And yes, air travel is something big even today in many families. Though we all travel, it's not a taboo anymore, not a big